Watching the cat, he leaned forward and vomited into the gutter. There was blood on the asphalt, a few clumps of dark fur. The wind flapped against the holes in the back of his shirt. "Well," he said, "what happens now?" Chickenhead, bathed in light, began to purr. She turned on her back and stretched her legs so that her claws caught the wings, which were white now, the feathers long and soft. Sam stood at the end of his drive and let them unfurl, 6 feet across, maybe more. When he flexed his shoulders, they beat hard against air. He rocked slowly on the balls of his feet and watched the clouds. The sky waited above him. It was almost night. The air was cold. The only light on the street came from him. Saturday. In the morning, he gave in, finally, and cut holes in all of his shirts. Chickenhead watched from the bed as he moved the scissors through the blue plaid shirt from Julie and the cream silk one he'd bought at the overpriced suit store on Robson. The rugby shirts and V-neck sweaters were next. He'd had some of his students pick these out, his finger no longer quite on the pulse of the fashion world. A system that had suited them all, his cash, their amused fashion expertise. Wasted now with every thrust of his scissors. He stopped when he got to the linen shirt that would have seen him through the wedding. Time for coffee, maybe even a morning stroll. No one used the garden this early on a Saturday, so he took Chickenhead out with him and watched her stalk bugs in the grass. The wings were long enough to touch the ground and bounce softly in the air with each step of his slippered feet. He walked around the pond and watched them unfurl in his reflection. A gift, the priest had said. A gift, and it wasn't even Christmas. When he got back inside, he picked up the phone and dialed Julie, even though he wasn't drunk. He moved to hang up when a male voice answered the phone, but then he coughed, and his anonymity was gone. "Sam," said the voice on the phone. "Derek, can I talk to Julie?" "It's pretty early," he said, as though Sam didn't know. "She's still sleeping. I can give her a message if you want." "Sure." He thought for a moment. "Tell her the church still smells the same." "Okay." If Derek found this strange, he didn't let on. "You have a good day, Sam." Then he hung up the phone. Sam was supposed to be the one hanging up. Sam, in point of fact, was supposed to be the one sleeping beside Julie. He listened to the air for a moment. Chickenhead, who had adjusted quite happily to the tuna juice, he was now the only person in this household losing weight, glared at him from where she sat, concentrated on her food. "I am trying," he told her, and he shook the phone for emphasis. But his threats, as they both knew well, were laughable at best. She remained impassive, bored, infinitely superior. She licked a paw as Sam watched. Her eyes said, "Pussy," as plain as day. Friday. School ended in a one-on-one conference, Sam on one side of the desk, Emma on the other. "You're not going to tell anybody?" she said. "There's nothing to tell. No one will believe me." He paused. "Are you going to tell anybody?" This made her laugh. "What makes you think anyone will believe me if they're not going to believe you?" She ran her fingers over the faded wood of his desk. Her face held a deference he didn't like. "Are you going to leave?" "I'm thinking about it," he said. Which was a lie. He hadn't thought about anything until right then. "Maybe I'll go on a road trip." Suddenly, the idea shone in his mind. Sam and Chickenhead and the dying Jetta, Joni Mitchell on the open road. A pilgrimage. Where would you go? I have no idea. The word pilgrimage made him think of 2 things, Mecca and Memphis. Hot sun and fervor and praying 5 times a day, and Elvis. But he didn't have the cash for Saudi Arabia, and he wasn't really a Graceland kind of guy. Besides, a road trip along the Sunshine Coast? With his cat? Taking God's gift for a spin, that's all it would be. "You shouldn't be here," he said. "You're always